The number one thing people ask me when they need to sell their current home and buy their next one at the same time is, am I going to end up with nowhere to live? It's the question that stops people from even starting the process. I've done this exact move for clients more times than almost anything else I do. So let me walk you through exactly how it works in Southwest Riverside County. If you're thinking about making this move, book a call with me and I'll map out your specific details and timelines for free. Let's get right to it. So the fear is always the same. Sell first and you might not have anywhere to go. Buy first and you might end up paying 2 mortgages. Both of those are real risks if you don't have a plan. With a plan, this is one of the smoothest moves a client can actually make. And it's honestly my favorite deal to run. I'd rather take on a transaction that most people, most agents would call complicated than a simple one. That's really where I actually add value and excel. So let's get right to it. First question, do you sell first or buy first? Selling first gives you clarity. You know exactly what you have to work with before you go and make an offer on anything. The trade-off is you need somewhere to land if your next home isn't ready. Buying first means no gap, but you're carrying 2 mortgages until the first one sells, which only works if your finances have room for that. I look at your equity position, your comfort level, and how fast homes are actually moving in your specific neighborhood because it just really ranges. And I look at that before I even tell you which direction I take this. So to give you an idea, homes in Temecula are averaging around 41 days on market right now. Lake Elsinore, closer to 63 days on market. That difference changes everything to the math and how much overlap risk you're actually carrying. And it's exactly why I run these numbers before we even pick a strategy instead of guessing. The tools that bridge the gap. So there are real tools for bridging the gap. A home sale contingency lets you purchase offer depends on your current home selling. Cleanest on paper, but weaker if you're competing against the buyer who doesn't need one. A HELOC or bridge loan lets you tap into your existing equity to fund the new purchase before the old one closes. So you're not waiting on your current home to sell before you can act on the next one. And there's what we call a rent back agreement. So what that does is that it lets you sell your house and stay in it for a set period of time while you're paying the new owner rent and while you finish finding and closing on the next one. None of these are a one-size-fits-all solution. I match the tool to your actual numbers, your equity position, and how much risk you're comfortable carrying at any given time. So here's the pattern that I see a lot. A client has strong equity, but their next move isn't quite lined up yet. A HELOC against the current home funds the down payment on the new one. We close on the purchase, then list and sell the old home without the pressure of a ticking clock. It's not the only way to do this, but it's often the calmest way to go about it. Why same-day closings matter? Now, the version I aim for with almost every client is getting both homes or both closings to land on the same day. You close the sale in the morning, close the purchase in the afternoon, or close the sale of your home the day before and the purchase the next day. And you only move once. Not into a rental, not into a family member's guest room, not into a storage unit for 3 months. It takes a tighter coordination on both sides with lenders, title, escrow, the other agent on the other side, but it's the version that actually feels like what people picture when they imagine this working the way it's really supposed to. So one of the things we want to keep in mind that it's important to have one agent on both sides, and it really changes everything. This is where having one agent handling both sides matters more than people really expect. I'm not juggling 2 different agents' timelines, 2 different negotiating styles, 2 different sets of assumptions about your move date. I control both calendars. So when I tell you the closing will line up, I can actually make that happen instead of hoping someone else's transaction cooperates with mine. That coordination is the whole difference between a stressful move and a smooth one, okay? So what can actually go wrong without a plan? I want to be straight with you about the real risks, not just sell you on how smooth this sale can be. If the sale drags longer than expected, you could end up carrying two mortgages longer than you really planned for. That's assuming your home's not paid off for already. And if you go into it with a contingent offer in a competitive listing, you can lose out to a buyer who doesn't need one. So, in essence, you lose the house you want. Neither of those is a reason to be afraid to start, quite frankly. They're just exactly why we plan the strategy before we list anything. So, I'm going to give you a realistic time frame, which is typically a 90-day timeline. Here's roughly how this would play out when it's all done right. The first 2 weeks, we get you pre-approved, and we get your current home list ready. We start working on many potential repairs, staging, photos, all the works. From there, we list, go under contract, and you start actively searching for your next home while offers are coming in. Over the following month, we negotiate matching close dates on both sides, and in the final stretch, both transactions close the same day and you move once. My favorite clients are the ones who come to me sure this was going to be messy, a simultaneous sale and purchase they'd been dreading for months. And I got to make it feel like nothing. You don't need to have it all figured out before you call me. Let's make this move simple, not stressful. That's genuinely what I'm here for. And it's the part of this job I actually love the most. So, with that, I leave you, my friends. If you're sitting on a house you need to sell and a next one you need to buy, book a call with me and I'll map out your actual timeline. Links in the bio, and I look forward to connecting with you.